Hey, we're live. We're live from the studios. Not quite the studios, but it is a makeshift studio until we get our state-of-the-art studio ready. So my name is Billy Merritt. Every single day at 11, I bring you an expert or some kind of specialized knowledge that you can use to sell more of whatever it is you sell. We have the most effective product in the entire car business. That is DigiNinja. That is how we communicate with customers for dealers, and we convert browsers into buyers. That's my product. It's been massively successful nationwide. I have gained connections from people in all 50 states. I haven't yet done an event in Hawaii, but I do have connections there. And one of the connections that I have met along the way is Carson Henry. Carson Henry is with me today. Carson is a tech guy. He has some useful information that I want to learn more about. So I figured that best way to get that information and help someone else would be bring him on the show and learn that information here today. Carson, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm super excited. Let me just say this place is quite impressive. Your wife did a fantastic job. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and drop some knowledge with you.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you. So a couple of questions. I wanted to do a little mini interview before the show started, but as you saw when you got in here, we have not slowed down one bit.
You got a lot going on, that's for sure.
We have a lot
It's
going
exciting.
on. We have a developer in here. We have the DigiNinja product, which we're going to launch January 1 as a complete CRM. DigiNinja started out as, we wanted it to be a sales CRM, a follow-up tool, a way that we could communicate with people through Facebook Messenger and through chat and internally with the dealer's employees and with my employees and with the customers. And then we just... It's an amazing product. We're going to bring Sarah Stalker on here in a little bit to tell you a little bit more about that. It's been her baby from the last 12 months. It was supposed to be 3 months, and it turned into hopefully not 3 years. We're over a year now. But anyway, it's an amazing product, and we saw the need for a complete CRM. CRMs have been weighed and measured and found lacking.
Well, and they're old.
They're old.
The tech is old. And there's definitely a market for somebody to come in and provide some disruption. And I think we're starting to see that from all over the place. I know company Techion valued at over $1 billion now as a cloud-based DMS. I mean, they're going to shake some people up. So I think there's a great opportunity for you guys to do the exact same with the CRM.
A cloud-based DMS. I've always said that's exactly what you need. When I was running dealerships, I'm like, why is this so antiquated? Why aren't you having to log into a remote? I don't even know how they do it.
Yeah, imagine desking a deal, from your cell phone in the grocery store, or writing the deal up, filling out all the finance paperwork from an app on your phone. I mean, that's pretty powerful. And they're going to be month to month. They've already released a lot of their pricing stuff, getting some of these dealers out of these 5-year contracts. With old companies. There's the next couple of years are going to be fun. For sure. Yeah,
for sure. This is going to be a fun show right here. I think it's going to be pretty long because I have a lot of questions and a lot of things I want to get to. So let's jump right in. Carson, sure. How did you get in the car business, and how did you get into advertising? Yeah, what's your background?
So grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina. Played high school golf. Went to college. I was originally going to be a golf instructor. So I went to Methodist University in Fayetteville, North Carolina, studying to be a PGA pro. Ended up leaving school 2 years in. Just school is not for everybody. I learned, there's some people, it's great. They love to study and read out of books and listen to lectures. That's not me. I got to get my hands on. So left school, started teaching golf, and really found that it didn't pay very well. It's a lot of fun. Hours are long. This doesn't pay. So I started to ask around and see what other opportunities were available, and found the Hendrick Automotive Group. Originally was going to be, a temporary thing to put some money in my pocket until I found something longer term, and just, fell in love with the process, fell in love with selling cars and the whole thing. I spent 7 years with Hendrick selling cars, running internet departments, running big BDCs. And in my time there, identified some opportunities to kind of free dealers from constraints that a lot of advertising agencies and marketing companies place on them. And what I mean by that is, you've got a lot of dealers think of their ad budgets almost as a tax, right? A tax. This is the CEO of Dealer Inspire wrote about this. I was reading an article that he wrote. And it's great. they tax each sale with, these marketing dollars with no way of really attributing how effective it is other than, well, we did it and we sold some cars, so let's do it again, right? Whether that's really where the sales came from and the revenue came from. So, while at Hendrick, really played around with some Facebook marketing. And, to be quite frank with you, your company was a huge inspiration for that. I know you did several events within our group, and I said, man, this guy's killing it. It's great. You were a thought leader in this is a new way to grab people's attention, and it makes perfect sense. And so I really played around with that. And while, a lot of your tools are for conquest and driving new sales and new revenue, I started to experiment with a lot of the retargeting capabilities. And what we've ended up creating is a really a customer lifecycle management tool to guide customers through each step of that funnel that a dealership sets up. So,
okay. So, what were you in school for?
It was a business degree, but with a concentration in golf management is what they call it.
Okay. So, any technical background in computer science or anything like that before?
None.
Okay. All right. No problem. That's good. I went to college for a day or two too, so it doesn't matter. I mean, now Sarah's going to be on here in a minute. She's got all the degrees and she went, you know what I'm saying? So there's tremendous value in college and in the college education. I have three kids in college right now. It better be valuable. So we'll get into your product, but I want to talk about some other things, some technical terms and some things that you mentioned right there. I want to talk about ads and revenue. And you mentioned conquest and retargeting and I want to kind of explain what some of those things are. So let's talk about ads. All right. You mentioned that some car dealers just put ads, or they tax their cars. They tax each deal with something to cover for their advertising. And in reality, an ad should work like this. I have $1. If I can spend $1 and make anything in excess to that dollar on return, then that's an ad. It's an ad that works. If I spend $1 and I make 50 cents back, that's not an ad. That's not a good ad. That's an expense. That's a liability. So ads should not be a cost. Definitely shouldn't be a tax. Ads are money makers. So our job as ads managers, as marketing managers, is to find out which ads work the best. Put 10 ads out there. If eight of them are working, 2 of them aren't working, those aren't ads. We can't call them that anymore. They're expenses. So we have 8 ads. Which one's giving me the most ROI? Let's double down on the 20% of those that are giving me the most ROI. That make
with no fear.
With no fear, of course.
Trust the data that you have.
There's definitely no fear. I mean, absolutely. If you fear it, then you're not confident in the fact that it's an ad. You think it's a gamble. Advertising is not a gamble. Advertising is a way to multiply your money.
Yep.
Okay. So, what we found, and we've done a few thousand, maybe 5,000 events, I think, but with over 2,000 car dealers. So, what we found is the 20% that works the most effectively, and just keep doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down on those. But now ads, Facebook ads can work for any product anywhere. You just simply have to find the ads that work and keep spending money on that. I mean, if you gave me $10,000 and I handed you back $11,000, how many times would you give me $10,000?
Every second of every day.
Every time you could. So ads are not a tax. Ads are not an expense. They are an investment.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, you mentioned conquest and retargeting and things like that. There is a place for, and I don't call it conquest. I know exactly what you mean. So conquest, to those of you who don't know, so if I have a CDJR, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram store in Douglas, Georgia, and I'm advertising to people in Jacksonville, Florida, that's conquest. I'm going after customers that are not mine or have not been mine. Correct? Is that what you meant by that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, a little bit of brand awareness, but going after capturing new business.
Capturing new business. Okay. So
putting people in the market.
Yes. Okay. Putting people in the market. Good. That's a good term there. I don't view what we do as conquest, but as saturation. Okay. Saturation is when we hit everybody in a specific area, and then we find or create or stimulate put somebody in the buying cycle, like you said. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there's a place for that. That's what I do. There's also a place for, you said, retargeting. Tell me the other definition of ads and just expound on what I'm saying there, because I'm very simple.
Well, yeah. So retargeting that's kind of where my product comes in. So, there's a natural marriage between the ads that you run and the ads that I run, in that, you're saturating a market. You're letting everybody know, hey, we've got this great sale. We're boosting sales. We're driving business. What we're doing is we're entering new prospects as customers into that dealership's database, right? Mm-hmm. Where I'm going to come in, we're going to grab those customers. Now we're going to introduce them to your service department. Now we're going to introduce them to your parts department, right? And we're going to serve them introduction to service over the next 6 months. Let's say they come in for an oil change. The service advisor recommends that they have their brakes serviced, right? They decline. That customer is going to populate on what's called a decline service list. A lot of dealers are aware of, decline service. That's a money pit, right? These are jobs that your service advisor is recommending. It's going to be customer pay. We're going to strengthen our customer retention. So what we do is we go after those customers that have declined service on specific op codes. We're going to serve them Facebook ads that, 30% off brakes at, CDJR Jacksonville or whatever store it is, to get them back into the store. We're going to apply that over, every step of the funnel across that dealership: end of lease, in equity, RO in equity, upgrade, new lease incentive. It's really endless. And the reason why it's so powerful is because we're going after such a targeted audience. The ads are stupid cheap. And the message I want to give here is, I'm not claiming to be the only one that can do this. And in fact, if you go to my Facebook and my YouTube channel, I'm telling dealers how to do this on their own, right? For free.
Right.
My product automates it.
Yep. So, and we're going to get into your product. I promise. We're going to have a long explanation, and I'm going to ask for the pitch of your product. I want to talk about, let's give away some of this information and help some people. This is what you can do on your own. Let's talk about Facebook ads. Okay. And how someone can and should do Facebook ads. If they have a product, where would they go? How do they get started running Facebook ads? Okay. Before we even get into the technical part, what do we do? I got a business. I want to run some Facebook ads.
Yeah, I think step one is to create your business manager.
Okay, so step one is create the business manager. All right.
You can run ads without it, but I wouldn't recommend it. I think you need to educate yourself on how to use that business manager tool. All this stuff is free. Facebook Blueprint certification is out there. All the documents are out there to tell you exactly how to do this stuff. You got to do a little bit of research before you just jump in. Otherwise, you're just donating money, to Facebook.
Okay. All right. I got a path we're going to go down here. Okay. So step one is create a business manager. We're going to get Sarah on here in a minute to talk about the business manager. And you mentioned Facebook Blueprint certification. So there's places you can go to get certified to actually learn how to do this the way that Facebook designed it to work.
Absolutely.
Okay. And they don't have to pay you, and they don't have to pay me to do this.
Right.
This is real information, free information for all you people who are scared. You don't want to call up a marketing agency. You don't want to spend the money to advertise with any company. You're still scared. You want to do it on your own. Great. Create a business manager. Why is it important? Why is that the first step, to create a business manager?
Well, I think just the amount of tools that it gives you access to in reporting, to know, you spoke about if an ad works, we're going to double down. Mm-hmm. Well, business manager allows you to identify which ads are working and which ads aren't. Mm-hmm. And then you can take it a step further and say, well, why didn't this work? Was it my ad copy? Was it my messaging? Was it my audience?
Jamie Lopez, you paying attention?
So yeah, I think business manager allows you those tools, and then to go in and create these custom audiences. I'm a huge advocate of don't necessarily use Facebook's ad targeting all the time. Let's use our own audiences that we can build elsewhere with some of the data that we have. If we look at dealers specifically, they're sitting on a gold mine of data. Mm-hmm. They have these giant databases that are worth millions.
Yep. Billions.
And they're not leveraging them, in a lot of cases.
Okay. So step 1 is create a business manager. Step 2. What's step 2 if we want to run some Facebook ads?
Yeah, I think you need to identify your audience.
Okay. This is identify. All right. What do you mean by that?
Who's going to use your product and who's going to get the most value out of using your product?
Okay. All right. So let's take my business. Let's take my business. Because I'm not doing this. And so how can this, okay, Jamie's listening live. Bring Sarah on. Sarah Stalker, Vice President of DigiNinja, and she's my ads and performance manager out in Colorado. What time is it out there? Are you up yet? Have you had your coffee?
I've had my coffee. It's 9:20 almost. Yeah.
So, Sarah, meet Carson.
Hi, Carson.
Good morning, Sarah.
Were you familiar with Carson before today's show?
Not at all. No.
Have you been listening to the show so far?
Absolutely.
Okay. So step 1, create a business manager. That's something that, I can't remember. 3 years ago, I had a business manager. When you came in and took over the ads, did I have a business manager already? Or I think I had a Billy Merritt business manager.
You did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now how many business managers do we have?
We have a lot. We have several of our own, and then we have thousands of dealers.
Right. But except the one of our own. So why do we have more than one?
Well, we have more than one because sometimes when Facebook's doing an update, they have errors. And so then we can't get into accounts or we can't use it properly. And we've had things just not be able to load, and we create a new business manager. And we had a past experience with fake pages is what they call them. Right. And so when dealers would ask us to create a page that's secondary to their primary page, even if it's on their behalf with their permission, it's considered a fake page. Yeah. And they told us not to do it anymore. And
you know who started the fake pages?
What's that?
You know who started the fake pages?
No. You did?
Because early on, and I'll explain that. Early on, and we're going to talk about this as well, because I'm going to help Carson make millions of dollars with his product. Okay. So there's it's a path, there's a path and a way to get there. Early on, before you have credibility and before you have a track record, you call up Hendrick. You call up Hendrick Automotive. How many stores do they have?
120 or so.
You call up the dealership that has 128 stores. Say, hey, give me access to your CRM, to your DMS. Yeah. Give me access to your Facebook accounts. You give me this. That's hard to do. So I was like, you know what?
Tell you to pound salt. They'll tell you to pound salt.
They'll tell you to pound sand, pound salt. So, so to not have to deal with it, I said, hey, Mr. Dealer, all you got to do is just give me $10,000 for the ads and for my services. I'll handle the rest. So I created the fake page, and I called it an event page. And we started doing the leads and the ads and the boosted posts, which I want to get back into here. But I was trying to stay specific about the ads and step 1, step 2. So I created the fake pages, and we were able to do that from there. As we got too big, we started looking like we were what's the term, Sarah?
Bot.
Yeah, we looked like we were a bot farm, and all these messages coming in and out. So they would shut our pages down. Sometimes they would just unpublish them, and that was okay because we could get them published again. But then one of our biggest clients, we had thousands of leads and messenger conversations in this fake page, and they deleted it. Mm-hmm. So we lost everything. Mm. And that's when we decided we have to have our own CRM.
Yeah.
Okay. So Facebook owns all this information. So anyway, we got too big to use the fake pages. Now there's still some people out there using fake pages. I reported one the other day. They're not big enough yet to have the attention of Facebook. So and feel the wrath of Facebook. They'll get there. Well, I don't know. They may not. So Sarah, we have several business managers now. Do you agree with Carson that the first step to Facebook ads is having a business manager?
Absolutely. And in fact, now they can't even give us access unless they have a business manager in most cases. That's a new rule from September, and they can struggle with it all they want to, but the rule is the rule. And please just give us access to the business manager.
And it's got to be from the owner.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times, so sometimes that somebody who creates the business manager, you know, moves jobs or something, and now they're the only person that can grant access. So it does it creates a lot of problems in some scenarios.
Okay. All right. And so I want to help. There's a lot of people who watch this show who, now most people are in the car business, but I have a lot of fans that watch this show that aren't necessarily in the car business, but they have businesses. And when they say, Billy, can you help me with my advertising? I say, sure, give me a check for $10,000. We'll run you a 7-day Facebook event. And they, you know, they don't even consider myself a friend anymore. But so I want to, let's stay general right here. When we're talking about helping businesses or car dealers that aren't doing it yet to create a business manager. So why not, Carson, why not just create a business page on Facebook and then boost posts, paid posts from my page? Why should I go through the hassle of a business manager?
Well, when you just boost your posts, you're relying on Facebook's targeting and Facebook's algorithm to determine who's going to get that boosted post. And while for some products that can be effective, for a lot of people, you know, we want to narrow that budget down and we want a real niche audience. And Business Manager allows us to select, you know, how we're determining who sees that boosted post, if that makes sense. So to give an example, I mean, one of our clients is a physical therapy practice, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, we're running some therapy ads for them. And so we go in and you know, who's most likely to elect for therapy, right? People who are in pain, you know, athletes, maybe people who play tennis, people who go to the gym a lot, you know, so we can go in and you know, geofence country clubs, tennis centers, gym facilities, pharmacies, if they're, you know, buying a lot of pain medicines or things like that. So that's been really effective. But you can't do that if you just rely on Facebook to boost your posts, right? So within Business Manager, you can go in and you can actually map out, hey, everybody who drives through this region, serve them an ad. And then from there, you can get really creative with where do I place these little spheres? You know, who frequents a location that I might also want to target.
Okay. And we do that a lot with the targeting, mainly of neighborhoods. So is there a benefit, Sarah? Because we don't really dial down in most of our, I know we do and we can, and we run different types of leads, but 90% of our leads are saturation. Is there a benefit for using Ads Manager when we're doing that? Is there a distinction? What makes it different? If I'm not dialing down my audience, why not just boost the post?
Well, the boosted posts have a different algorithm in Facebook than the Ads Manager ads. And it has seemed that the competitiveness in the boosted posts has increased and increased our costs dramatically. Switching over to Ads Manager ads, I was able to really, I can do split tests. I can compare things. I can do all sorts of, I can do a lookalike audience. All of these things I can't do if I just, well, I guess I could, well, no, I can't really do all of that with a boosted post. And we can't drop down as we're a credit. We have to do a credit ad for dealerships, even if they're doing an oil change because of the type of business they are. Then we're limited to that 15-mile drop. In addition, in Ads Manager, we're doing one right now for a dealership, and we're using their database. So we're going off of, we're doing some data mining for them and delivering to their audience.
Okay. Yeah. And I think one thing, you know, to key in on what Sarah just mentioned is that, you know, keep in mind, Facebook is a business, right? They're going to make it super easy to boost the post and get that ad revenue from you. They don't necessarily want your budget to be super efficient.
It's my favorite guy on the planet right there. You're my favorite guy, except when he brings stuff to my house. That's the UPS guy. He's bringing us money right now.
It's always a good thing.
Yeah,
that was a really good point, though. Actually, they're not in it to make us have lower lead costs. Right. We're the only ones that can do that. They want us to spend as much as possible.
Right. So we have to be creative in how to. Right. There's a reason they make it so difficult to create a business manager and to learn about these things. The blueprint certification is worse than taking an SAT.
Yeah.
But by design, they don't necessarily want people to know how to spend less on their platform and make more. And that makes sense. So just keeping that in mind, not to say Facebook's the devil or anything like that, because it's not. It's a great tool. but they're weeding out those people that don't want to put the time in to learn how to beat their algorithms in the systems that they have in place.
Okay, that makes sense. Makes plenty of sense. All right, I want to talk about something. Okay, well, step 2 is identify your audience. What's you're going to do next for a business that wants to start a business page, start a business manager? It would help to get blueprint certified, and then identify your audience. What are you going to do next?
Yeah, I think, using that audience that you've identified is tailor a message and an offer for that audience specifically.
Okay, now we're into my domain. Once you get into the offer, I wrote the book, The Art of Text Message Selling. Chapter 1 is make a big offer, a compelling offer, an irresistible offer, your hook, whatever it is going to get people's attention to get them to engage with you. So you need to think about your audience, who you're trying to go after, and create an irresistible offer for that market. And build. What about photos? Does that matter what photos you use? If I'm going to,
yeah, certainly. I think, to your point, create an irresistible offer, right? That means that it's easier to create an irresistible offer for an audience of 30,000 than 30 million.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Because we're able to zero in on what those people are most likely to engage with. So I think, when you're talking about, photo content, video content, the smaller we get our audience,
it's going to be a long show, Sarah.
The more refined we can make our audience, the easier it'll be to create that imagery and the video that we assume those people will engage with.
Okay, let's don't assume. So what does it mean? You have your irresistible offer. I wrote it for you, so it's awesome. Now I give you the offer. What are you going to do? Are you going to get me? You're going to get me a still photo. You're going to get me a video. What are you going to do next?
In my experience, Facebook prefers video. So if you can keep a video under, 10 seconds, maybe you do some text overlay. Just recently, they're allowing more text on video and on images now, where they used to filter that out.
We've battled with that for 4 years, haven't we, Sarah, with the text and the overlay?
So I think they're starting to realize that a lot of people want that. And I think customers want it as well. But when you can embed your message in the image and in the video, you're going to get a lot more engagement. And one key thing that I just did a video on is when you're setting this ad up, specifically if it's video, make sure that in your delivery settings, you can deliver the ad to people only when Wi-Fi is enabled.
I heard you mention that. It's in my notes to talk about that.
One big reason if it's video, because buffering is the fastest way to lose somebody. Right? If that video is going to buffer, they're going to scroll right past. But the other thing is, when are people connected to Wi-Fi? Like, I'm sure you have Wi-Fi here. Yeah. Everybody here is probably connected. They have time. They're scrolling. They can engage with your ad. Right. If I'm driving down the road, I'm not naive to say that people aren't on Facebook when they're driving down the road, right? They're probably not on Wi-Fi. They're probably not going to connect with your ad or fill out a lead or send a message if they're driving. So we can eliminate spending money on the person who's not connected to Wi-Fi, and that'll help us save in that ad budget. I'm
going to have to go back and watch the show and then come up with a whole list of new questions and do it again, because we touch on so many important things in just a simple conversation. But let me talk next. Okay. But Smith, go to the Billy W. Merritt page, our business page. Okay. And go to videos, and then you're going to scroll down to about 3 or 4 years ago. And it's me standing out in front. When you get on there, I'll show it to you. But it's me standing out in front of a dealership, and I want to talk about that a little bit. All right. So, Sarah, we do videos. It changes. First of all, tell me what an algorithm is.
Me?
Yes.
Oh yeah. So the algorithm is just Facebook's way of selecting who's going to view the post based on the preferences that they have designated for that person.
Okay.
Browsing history, what they've previously liked, things like that.
Right. So, when you're in Business Manager and you're choosing your audience, or even if you're you can do it manually, or you can serve it to people who Facebook says are most likely to engage with you.
Correct.
And that changes often. Yep. So early on, it's going to be way down. Early on, we found, and we could have been doing something wrong, but we found that a static photo was giving us better engagement and better results than a video. Even though Gary V, Grant Cardone was running around telling everybody video. We were doing video, and we'd split test it against a static photo. We'd get way more from the photo. Have you seen that?
I have seen that. I think in two things to consider is the length of video that you're posting, and also at the time, you know, Facebook was pushing this Facebook TV. They wanted more video posts, so they could entice these people to promote for people to post video. So that's a very real possibility. But yeah, I think it comes down to that audience and the message. If the message fits in a video, and like for instance, a lot of our ads, we just do a time lapse of an oil change and put an animated text on top of that.
I think it comes down to the algorithm and how it changes. I think the algorithm today is totally different, because what we did, we'll just take a very VIP customer of ours, Cowboy Kia out in Conroe, Texas. They run with us every single month. They have since the very beginning. This video I'm about to show you is one of Mark Compton's events. So Mark Compton was in the direct mail business, and he did a sale out in Kansas City. And I had just recently gotten fired from a job where I thought that I was going to end up taking over the dealership, and I had to bring my product to market. And this is where it started at, where I'm about to show you. But that video worked pretty well. But then when Sarah came on board after that, we started running videos. And I think the algorithm is just totally different, because what was working for Mark and us way back then, it's changed tremendously. And I think that's, if you're not, you don't know what the algorithm is.
You're never going to know.
Okay.
But that's the exact reason why that business manager is so essential.
Okay.
Because without it, you never would have identified that an image was outperforming videos, and you would have stuck with video, and you'd have been stuck in this loophole. So that business manager allows you insights into the algorithm, and the split tests are very powerful and allow you some knowledge that you might not necessarily have.
So a couple months ago, we noticed that our results for our VIP customer were slipping, and everybody wanted to say, not Sarah or me, but everybody else wanted to say, well, they just do it. They just do it every month. They just do it every month. They're doing two events per month. It's just, I do not believe in ad fatigue. Now, Sarah and I've had that conversation before, but people are saying, and I said, no, Sarah, we got to figure this out. So we changed everything. We did videos here in the studio. We did static ads. We did videos on site, so we did, and then we did some images. We did some inventory ads. So we had a lot of things going. And what did that process look like? What happened, Sarah?
Well, it was pretty clear that the videos didn't get as much response in our markets, and the static ads did the best with low text and a sexy picture of a vehicle time and time again. The difference is that when someone's on site and they can walk the dealership in maybe a 20 to 30 second ad explaining what the event is, that one does really well during the middle of an event. I can kick that in for low cost, but it was pretty clear what was working best, and we continually try it. I don't rely on something that we knew from 3 months ago or 6 months ago. I'll try a video ad again. I'll try all sorts of things. And if it's clear that it's not working, we do something else. So we just have to keep switching it up.
Pull up this is the date on there. This is the first ever Facebook buyback event. You can click on the one that says 2 years ago. It's longer than that, but the one with my phone number and everything on there, right up. That's fine. That's the final day. That wasn't the very first one. Go over to the right, down a little bit. Nope. It's got to be that one. Click on there. That's it. Okay. Let's play it. Hey guys, this is Billy with the Ultimate Buyback Team. We are having a huge event down at Shawnee Mission Ford. Every car is marked down to the lowest price of the year. This is the biggest sale they're going to have all year. But during this event, I'm here to buy back all the trade-ins. I'm going to pay an extra $4,000 for every trade-in. That's my job, is to pay more than any other dealer. More than Kelly Blue Book, more than any other dealer, $4,000 more. I'm your guy, and you need to give me a call or simply message me right here, and I will message you right back. This deal absolutely ends June the 4th. You don't want to miss it. So that was back before there was any success with this company. This company at that time was me and whatever version of the phone I filmed that on right there. No money in the bank, very little, enough to get me a hotel room and a plane ticket out there and a plane ticket home. But you see that text, I built that in Ads Manager. So even though I didn't have the specialized knowledge, I wasn't blueprint certified like you and Sarah. I'm like, well, I gotta do this video thing. And then I was putting in the text that they let me put in. Now that video started the whole thing, so it worked. Why do you? Well, Sarah, you said because I was there on site. That was one useful thing. So people need to be doing some videos on site.
Mm-hmm.
The imagery
Absolutely.
and the text was approved by Facebook, because if you put something too big in there, they used to give us a warning. I'm not in there anymore. Do they still do that?
Well, they will if it's too much, but they've just laxed their stipulations on that to where I think it used to be like 15%. Now it might be 25%, whatever the numbers are.
Have you noticed that, Sarah, that they're laxing
They're laxing, and they're approved quickly, where before it dragged for the approval process. But now we're getting slow returns on the delivery for the ads, because it does create the test against the text, test against the image when the bots are reading that ad.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be very careful of what we say, because it'll slow it down while it's trying to read to make sure we're not violating anything. And that happens with images on text all the time. I mean, text on images all the time.
Okay. Good deal. I think I'm with you on these guys. I'm really trying to learn here, and I hope we're putting some stuff out there that's helpful to these people. If we have any comments on whether this is helpful to you or if you have any questions, I have two very, very powerful Facebook marketers, one in the studio and one in the DigiNinja studios in Colorado. So if you guys have any questions, please let us know how we can help you. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that video was perfect. For somebody who's wanting to do a video like that, Sarah's absolutely right. Being on site, local content that's relevant to the viewer is important, but you also got right to the point.
Yeah.
You didn't waste any time. I watched that for 2 seconds and I got your message.
Yeah.
That's important.
Well, that's back to part, I guess step 2, or no, step 3 of crafting your offer. And again, I told you that was my area of expertise. These other areas were not my area of expertise. The marketing, as a matter of fact, just as soon as I could, as my business started growing and I could add people, first thing I added was salespeople. So I called Joey, and then I needed some people to help me answer these leads. So I called some more friends, and I got Hank involved. And then I called Sarah when I needed some help with, I'd worked with Sarah in the past as a Facebook marketer. I knew that she gets in, that she nerded out about this stuff. So I'm learning to be a nerd as well, so that I can be even more powerful. But the part that I was always good at was the messaging and the branding. So that's all part of,
it's arguably the most important piece.
It can't. Well, it's rule number 1 of the book. But the thing is, I'm learning. I just learned this past week that the marketing is the first step of the business process, not the sales. See, Joey and I, first thing I did was call salespeople. Well, that's because we were hungry. We had to eat. So let's sell something, and then we'll figure the rest out, because sales cures all. But the business cycle should look like this. Marketing, and the best marketing is telling a story. So maybe it is the most important part, but you gotta be able to get your audience seen. So
right.
If I had in other words, it wasn't the most important part. It had to go hand in hand with the audience, because I'm from Broxton, Georgia. I was in Kansas City. Okay. That's an awesome message. But if I had just shared that on my Facebook page, all my Broxton friends would have seen it, and nobody was coming to Shawnee Mission to buy a vehicle. So you got to have the audience. You got to have someone's attention. The audience is the most important part. You can have a poor ad and sell something if the audience is right. If your ad is super, but your audience is out of your marketplace, then it doesn't matter.
Great way to put it.
Yep,
absolutely.
So see, that's what this show is about. You put smart minds together, and then you come up with the truth. You have real conversations. So I'm gonna give a little bit of marketing advice. Marketing is telling a story. Marketing, the best way to tell a story is just talk about what's going on. And if you have something interesting, and you can show the world that you're authentic and genuine, then people are going to get behind you. They're going to support you. They're going to believe in you. They're going to help you. They'll even buy your product. So, one of my rules of salespeople, I've trained a ton. I've trained thousands of salespeople. I've trained hundreds that went on to be managers. And one of my first rules is don't be a salesperson, be an expert. So that's why, and I promise we're going to talk about your product, but we're not there yet.
Oh, that's fine.
You have some specialized knowledge, and you're an expert. We're going to tell that story. We're going to show your expertise, and then we're going to talk about what the next thing is, which is creating leads. You already know that. And then sales. I'm going to help you with all that. So, but first of all, I want to go back to something you mentioned. See if I can remember it. You said it's more important to have the right offer for a small audience than.
Well, it's easier.
Easier. Okay.
It's easier to
explain that.
So it's easier. So it's going to be easier for me to find something that 10,000 people can relate to than 10 million.
Okay. Yes.
And so it's easier for me to craft that message specifically for small businesses that don't have these exorbitant budgets. It's very important to ensure that I'm not just blasting my message to 10 million people because I'm going to burn through my budget, super fast. I'd rather find, how do I whittle this down to 10% of that people that will actually relate to what I'm trying to put out there and engage with it.
Right. Okay. And I totally agree. So especially for the small business. Okay. Now, but I've experienced a problem in marketing my business, and that's what I'm focusing on right now. Now the podcast works. The other networks, I don't like to say them on here because I know they're listening. If I promote the other places, then they're going to throttle my video. But there's other places where you can tell your story and get people to respond. There's other places where car dealers are hanging out. They may be hiring people, looking for hires, and they'll see you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
So, and I want to get into that too. But Sarah, you and I have we have an amazing website, BillyMerritt.com, DigiNinja.com. We have my personal Facebook page. We have my business page where we try to, and we pretty effectively drive customers to get more information. We have, on those websites, we have the DigiNinja chat. So if somebody goes to BillyMerritt.com and say, hey, can I speak to Billy? One of these guys back here, probably Jamie, if Jamie is available, is going to say, or Kevin's going to say, yeah, absolutely. I'll be happy to get Billy for you. My name's Jamie. I'm right here beside him. I'm his #1 manager. And it's a real person having a real conversation. And that works. Here's our challenge. Sarah and I have tried to use the most effective tool out there, which is Facebook, to reach more dealers. We've had success with email campaigns. We've had success with these other things we're talking about. But how can you take Billy Merritt marketing and reach car dealers?
Yeah, I think it's definitely difficult. It's not impossible. It's difficult. Reason being, you don't want everybody in, not everybody in that dealership can make the decision, right? The more people that know about it, the better. But what you're trying to do is reach decision makers and influence their decisions. So I think, one thing that might be interesting with geofencing is identify, groups that have multi-rooftops, that where their headquarters is, place a geofence around the headquarters and blast it. Everybody that walks in that building sees, a Billy Merritt marketing ad or something like that. But
okay, I'm with you. Now, I'm going to challenge you a little bit right there. First of all, I haven't been able, like when we try to target, we had a little bit of success targeting the NADA convention centers, and people who were there. There were thousands of car dealers there, and the other conventions we went to. But when I at least have tried to dial down the audience, okay, there's 325 million people in the United States. Now, if I could get all 325 million of them to see my ads, I would take all of that and like all the what's it called? All the trolls that get on there when you like when somebody who's not in the car business sees one of my ads, they immediately start trolling and I don't care about that. I just hate that I wasted money on them. Right. So when I try to dial it down by sales or managers or whatever, I have a hard time finding that audience. I haven't been in there lately, but now I would take the dealership. So if you can help me, if there are any related to a dealership, if it's the service manager, I'd rather than be in sales, but here's something to keep in mind. The salesperson of today is the general manager of tomorrow.
Sure.
Okay. So, and also what you want inside that dealership is advocates. So if I walk into, and I've done it many, many times, I'll walk into a dealer showroom unannounced and I'll have my book and they say, hey, that's Billy. I know Billy from, and then next thing you know, they're telling the general manager who Billy is. He may not be on Facebook, but I have advocates in there. Oh, we got to do this,
Yeah. I think interesting. For business to business, Facebook is definitely, it's more peer-to-peer. As you can tell, now we're going to talk about marketplace, but Facebook marketplace, it's all driven peer-to-peer. So it does make it difficult to advertise on a business to business level, which is why I think the organic stuff on Facebook is going to be most effective for you. So if you're wanting to increase your reach in the automotive business, and what I plan to do, I started making videos because you did.
Mm-hmm.
I said, these guys obviously have it. They're doing it. I need to do it. And so what I plan to do is have, internet managers, GMs, salespeople, everybody come on my podcast. Let's talk about it. You had a great month in sales. You sold 25 cars. Come on and talk about it. They're going to share that with all their people. Oh, I'm going on a podcast. I'm going to be live on Facebook. Everybody in that dealership is going to watch it.
Yeah.
And so that's how you can kind of grow on that business to business level over.
Well, now, and again, don't take this the wrong way,
Sure.
but now I'm an expert at that. I
agree.
We do what, 150 events per month, Sarah?
Yes, at least, sometimes more.
Okay. So, and that all comes from the network that I've built on this social media platform. And from doing that, and that got you involved, interested in what I do. And I reach out and reach up for my friends for instance, here's someone that he's been following me a long time, and I tell the story. So this is what I want you to do. And again, I want you to help me, but you got to tell your story. And you got to continue to show people that you're an expert, and you just keep doing it. You keep persisting, and those people who are paying attention, you don't think they're paying attention. They're paying attention. And then this happened 5 times yesterday. So my sales team, they came to Paul and said, Paul, we've been training and on how to do cold calls and things like that. And it's tough. And some people accuse those who don't want to make cold calls to only wanting to grab the low hanging fruit. And I'm like, no, that's not right. You can do cold calls. And if it works for you, that's fine. If you don't want to, there's a smarter way. It's not it is easier, but it's also smarter. Market, tell your story, do the podcast, just like you're talking about. I told you over a message, I said, keep doing those videos, man. They're great. You're great on camera. You're smart. It's obvious. Keep doing that. And then, that is the marketing side. And then you start creating leads. And anytime someone reaches out to you about your product, that's a lead. Okay. That came in yesterday. He's been friends with me for, I don't know, over a year. It's a dealership that you're familiar with, two dealerships. And, the message came in. I'll post it after the show. He said, hey, how long does it take to do an event? And I said, we like to have it Wednesday before the Sunday to start. And it was a long text conversation. The last message was, okay, let's do it for both stores. So that part I got. What I want to do is there's about 40,000 dealers. I want to reach all 40,000 of them. I want 40,000 of those dealers and their employees to know, because I do understand this, obscurity is my biggest enemy. Sure. And if I could reach all 325 million people with a compelling message and it was a positive ROI, I would do it. But the problem we've ran into, and again, I think
it's expensive.
It's expensive. It's not an ROI. It's not profitable. We spend more money than we make when we run those ads, and that's not a smart way. So maybe that's not the right platform, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So we have YouTube, we have Google AdWords, we have the other networks. Are you familiar with running ads on there and getting what we need?
A little bit. Yeah. I think, I think business to business, there's not a solid digital marketing playbook written because it's so new.
Okay. And there's your next $1 billion.
Yeah. And it's so new. These platforms are so new. Internet is so new. I mean, when you look at it, it's young. It's changing every single day. So as these companies like mine, like yours, start to bloom and grow, there was, look at it this way. There was nobody doing this before you did it.
Right.
So you've got nobody to look to and say, how did you do it?
Right.
You can only look at these larger companies that are old, antiquated. They're creating a market for you because they're old, and they're not necessarily doing it the right way either.
Right.
So you got to forge a path and be creative. You're doing the right things by obviously the organic is huge, but by trying different things, seeing what works, what doesn't work. There's no such thing as bad data.
Yeah, that's right. I'll try anything once. Sarah, what do you think? I mean, did we get some things wrong? Is there something we can do? Can we use Facebook to reach this target audience of 40,000 dealers? I know we've tried a few times.
We have tried a few times. And I think, it's worth putting out a message sometimes just for, like we talked about very early in the show, brand awareness. when you're sticking that out there for the dealers, if we can get them, in some of the cities with, if we can get around the dealership, if we can get around the rooftops, like he said, I think that's spot on. It is difficult, but I know that there's more luck in LinkedIn with business to business. And I've heard that the videos on YouTube are
I'm not to say that name. They may suppress us. We've had high viewership. This is the whole time, but that's okay.
I will not say that. Then the other thing that has videos on it, it has higher viewership than network TV right now. So there are a lot of options for us to try as we move forward. I think we really have done our work on Facebook, and we'll continue to do that. And then whatever we can get as it comes along, we'll just try it.
Yeah, we'll try anything once. So, all right, let's talk about leads. As I mentioned, marketing is most important. Then you want to get your leads. You want to get your funnel. You want to get your sales process started through a lead. Your lead first, your marketing first, then your lead, then you learn how to sell. We got the sales part down in here, and we've got the marketing part down. Getting those more leads, that's what we're looking at. Okay, let's talk about something real simple that I'm not using. I haven't used, and I don't even use it for my dealers. Okay. Facebook Marketplace. I know you feel very passionately about Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. Should every car dealer that's not using me, should they use Facebook Marketplace?
Here's what I want to say. The answer is yes, but in the right fashion. Okay. Mm-hmm. So imagine I'm one of these big listing services, and I come to you. You've got a store, and I say, hey, I'm going to put all your cars on Marketplace for free. What would you say?
Sure.
Right. Let's ask some follow-up questions. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because what's actually happening, people don't realize that franchise dealers are constantly under attack from these companies, right? So what's happening is, and they're starting to realize, is these listing companies are coming in, they're taking your inventory, posting it on Marketplace. Nowhere on that Marketplace VDP do I see your dealership. If I click that link, I'm going to that listing services VDP, right, which is taking them away from your inventory, putting them in an environment where there's other inventory from other dealerships. But here's the kicker. Let's say they go to that VDP, they click on it, they're selling that lead back to you.
Right.
So what I want to urge people,
they're your enemy and they're taking your money.
Right.
You're paying them to do it.
And what I want to tell people is NetLook, the company that I work for, will put your inventory on Marketplace for free. It's from your store. They navigate to your site. They navigate to your Facebook homepage. I don't know of anybody else that's doing that right now. And there's a select few dealers that are starting to realize this, and it's a big problem. So Marketplace is extremely, extremely valuable if you're utilizing it properly. It's free to use. Okay. It's easy to get your stuff set up. And here's why. Facebook's algorithm is going to put they want relevant products in front of their users. So if they assume that, Billy's going to like seeing this car that you have in inventory, it's going to put it in front of Billy. You can't get that targeting anywhere else. And, on top of that, it's free.
Right. So if I've ran a lot of dealerships, and I've really increased sales at every dealership I've ever been to. If you came in and told me that, first thing I'd say is, hey man, how about coming to work for me and you put all my stuff on Marketplace? Because if it is as valuable as you said it is, and I believe it is, I would hire a person to take care of that. One person in the dealership that did nothing but you don't eat unless you get a sale off of Marketplace.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay. And I think,
have you seen anybody do that?
There's a couple stores that do it very well. Okay. I think here's the other problem is, and this is where you guys come in with some of the power you have, is let's say, okay, I've got all my cars on Marketplace now. Somebody's engaging. They send a message on my piece of inventory. Do I have somebody logged in 24/7 to Facebook Messenger to answer that lead? Majority of people are using a messaging service or an automated. This is a low funnel customer. This is somebody who's on a specific piece of used inventory and is asking you questions about it. I don't want a bot answering that lead.
You don't want most people in America. I watched your video, man. I do my research before I let somebody come on the show. I didn't, you said, do you want a salesperson handling that chat or do you want a bot? Well, heck, a bot's about as good as a salesperson unless they really understand the art of text message selling.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Well, yes, but also being that these are used vehicles, there's any number of questions this customer can have on this piece of used vehicle. Yeah. And a bot is not going to be.
Yeah. They're going to say, what's your name? What's your first name?
Exactly.
What's your last? Yeah. So I see a lot of potential there, Sarah, for DigiNinja in the chat that you have designed. And that, oh, by the way, Austin's in here today. Austin's got to jump on a call with you. You're going to have to get off here in just a minute. But our developer is here in-house today, which is amazing. Paul's showing him around exactly how we do. But you have designed a chat because the functionality of it is the most important thing to me. And what the Ninja says, what the operator says to these customers that are low funnel is so important to say the right thing. So important. But so do you think we can incorporate and help utilize marketplace for our dealers? I mean, we'll do it for free for our dealers if they have the DigiNinja chat. Could you see that working?
Yeah, for sure. We can do some marketplace ads. I see them here all the time, in Denver.
You're not talking about ads though, are you?
Not even ads, just get them up there.
Yeah.
Get them up there. But getting them up there from your store. Don't use a service that's going to post it from, their site, navigate. We want your store to be shown as, we want you to get that lead.
So I think as a dealer services, Sarah, we need to talk to our sales managers. They're out there in the field and say, look, here's what you need to be doing for your dealers. If you want to maintain that loyalty, which we have a 90% re-sign rate, but if we want to retain that, we need to go in there and make sure that they're setting up and doing these things that are free. Caleb's really good at that, going in and making sure that they're doing the things that are free. So what else about marketplace do we need to know?
Just use it. I mean, this is dated back to 2017, but they were doing like 6 million VDP views a day. Mm-hmm. And that's old.
Yeah.
One key thing is, if you can't get all your inventory up there for whatever reason, or you're posting it manually, the price point 15,000 and under really moves on Facebook Marketplace.
All right. Well, you'll have to come back and watch the rest of it. I want you to jump on there with Austin and get we got to make sure that DigiNinja is a full service CRM. So I know you got to jump off, Sarah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
All right. Bye.
Hey, don't you go anywhere though. This is very important what we're about to talk about right here. So let's finish talking about Facebook Marketplace. Is it a lead? Do you get a lead from Facebook Marketplace, or do you just get a messenger, or do you just
it's a messenger? Typically they'll ask a question about the piece of inventory. Okay.
So I'm going to give you some free information for you dealers out there and anybody who's using a service to talk to your messengers or to talk to your chat providers, man. Just stop. You'd be better off to leave a message unanswered. Felipe, come here. You'd be better off to leave a message unanswered than to let a bot handle or let somebody that doesn't understand. This is Felipe Tenjero. He's one of my salespeople. He's got on his cowboy shirt today. Felipe, what's one of the biggest problems we see on Sunday? We start all our ads on Sunday that the dealership, this is not going to work. We're not going to get any appointments. Why not?
Have third-party messaging on there.
So, I mean, that wasn't scripted. If you have somebody besides your personal people, that would be better. But we try to get rid of them too. Usually, we can train them to do right. But if you have you can name them. You can give me the service that's handling your chat, and I'm telling you, you would be better off to not have them on there.
Well, yeah, and I've been watching your videos, and you say, I want to be the #1 chat provider, and I'm like, that's cool. That's a good goal. But when I walk through here today. I mean, you are the #1 chat. I mean, these guys are. It's amazing.
We're the best. We're not the biggest, and I want to be the best and the biggest. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we definitely. I mean, that's why I wanted you to come in here and where you can see. And these guys over here, they're relentless in the way, and they're very skilled. I go in and I audit pages, and I'm amazed at how they really utilize and have meaningful conversations. So that's key. All right. So it comes in as a messenger. I love that. I'd rather have a messenger than a lead. You were talking about earlier about a lead form. Okay. Here's my problem with a lead form. And here's why I don't do it. Now, I'm making the shift. I'm altering my course a little bit because I'm not going to ever get left in the Stone Age. And we're going to talk about that too. Again, it's going to be a long show. But I'm going to alter my course to utilize Facebook lead gen ads. Are you familiar with Facebook lead gen ads? Is that what you use the business manager for lead gen, or do you just?
There's some lead gen. It depends on which client we're working with. For our physical therapy practice, that's a lead gen.
Okay.
And reason being, those customers are used to systems like that when engaging with healthcare providers. For something as casual as it's becoming as a car deal, might not necessarily fit in all. It depends on the environment. If they're engaging on marketplace and they've got a quick question, I don't want to submit a lead, wait for an email to come in, wait for my phone to ring. Chances are I'm not going to open the email anyway or answer my phone.
Right.
Send me a text. Well, if I can just message right here, that's what I'm going to do as a consumer.
So you don't run very many lead gen ads for car dealers.
Correct.
Okay, good. Well, we don't either. Here's why. The main thing is you have to have your process. Your sales process has to be based upon what the customer wants, not what you want. So if the first thing you ask them is fill out this form, they're not going to do it. They're going to be going somewhere else.
Yep.
Now, if indeed they fill it out, you got one of two things. You got somebody with nothing better to do than to chat with somebody about a car deal, or a real serious buyer. So,
well, the other issue too is, they fill it out. They're engaged during that time. After they filled it out, they're no longer engaged.
Exactly.
And now I've got to re-engage with them.
Yeah.
That's an exponential amount of work.
Yeah. So we use Facebook Messenger, and what most chat people get wrong is that, most chat companies, or all of them besides ours, their job of their operators is to clear their queue. They're trying to clear their queue. So you'll see that message. Is there anything else I can help you with today? So they're trying to get
rushing them.
They're trying to get out of the conversation, and we're trying to go deep into the conversation. We want to have a meaningful conversation. We will jump through every hoop. We'll give prices. We'll send links. We'll send the credit apps, all before we even have their name.
Well, and I know this from working in the industry and running internet departments, is that most chat providers will tell you, we're not here to sell cars. Right. We don't talk about price. We don't talk about incentives. How are you helping me then?
Right. Right.
That's why they're here. We need to give them that big offer. And if my chat provider is not willing to do that for liability reasons or whatever, then you're not really helping me.
Okay, I think I've hit on most of the things that I wanted to talk about, and you've been a great guest, and you've been very informative. So what I want to talk about, don't go anywhere. We're about to get into something very important right here. Tell me exactly what Rabbit is. What do you do that's different? What do you do that's helpful? What do you do that's useful?
Yeah, so Rabbit stands for Revenue Accelerated by Intelligent Technology. Okay, and so what we do, number one, is generate revenue, and we generate recurring revenue at that. And what I want to make clear, before I get into too much about the product, is when I started this company early 2019, my mission statement was 3 words: educate and empower. Okay, my number one goal is to educate dealers how to better spend their money and spend less marketing dollars by using, if they happen to use Rabbit for that, great. If not, that's fine. I've done my job. They can go, learn about it. I'm giving this stuff away for free. The software itself just automates these campaigns. So
Rabbit's a software company.
Correct.
Okay. Can you, where can we pull up rabbit.com? What would be the best platform?
Yeah, you can go to netlook.com/rabbit.
NetLook.
And that's our landing page. We're building a lot of marketing materials for it now.
Okay. Revenue, tell me again,
Revenue Accelerated by Intelligent Technology.
Okay. So
it's not super important.
Okay.
Rabbit
is important.
important.
Rabbit is important. Okay. Rabbit is important. RABIT is important. How's it going to help me? I'm a car dealer. Okay. I got a $50,000 ad budget. I run 2 events per month with Billy.
Yep.
That's $20,000. I still have $30,000 of ad spend. Yeah. I got the radio people coming. I got cars.com. I got these chat people. I got Gubagoo. I got.
So here's the main thing, especially with somebody who's using your events. Let's say we spend all this money with Billy. We generate all these car sales. Now what? Rabbit's going to come in and grab those customers and make sure that they stay a customer for life.
Customer retention.
We're guiding them to their next action inside your dealership.
This is more than a shot in the arm. It's not going to help me sell 20 cars this week, probably.
It's not. But we're going to serve. We're going to guide customers wherever they are in that life cycle journey to their next step with your store, whether that's intro to service, whether that's a decline service ad. Maybe they haven't seen us in 365 days. We're bringing them back to the store. We're staying 2 steps ahead of the customer. And what that does is protect that customer from some of these other conquest campaigns. From the other competitors.
Okay, so that's to keep the other people from trying to pick them off. So let's take a Facebook event. Let's say we sell 50 cars this week off of Facebook. Those 50 cars go into the CRM. They go into the DMS. I don't know why that's not the same thing, but anyway. So when is Rabbit going to touch them?
Well, we're we're going to sit down with each dealer independently and kind of craft this out with them in sort of a consultation. But what I would say is ideally 6 to 7 months later, we're going to introduce them to our service department. We want that first service visit. So what we're going to do is we're going to serve them a quick 10-second video ad that's shot inside your service department, features your service advisors, working on cars, talking to customers, and bring them in for that first service. Now from there, depending on how that service goes, we might loop them into a declined service campaign.
Okay. I want to hear about that decline service campaign, but let me back up for a minute.
Sure.
I sold 50 cars this week. Now, as a dealership, I've got their text and all this. So soon, you know, they're going to start receiving texts from me. I don't know who's doing this. I just know this because I buy a lot of cars, and I get who are those texts coming from when I get a text message from someone a week later. How was your experience and stuff like that?
Yeah, typically that's another service provider. There's several out there. I'm not going to name any names, but there's some that are for customer experience grades internally. The dealerships want to know, you know, how it went, what happened, and they'll forward those. There's some that send you a text and ask for you to generate a review on Google, Facebook, wherever. Those are typically automated from a service. So
that's
provider.
A software company somewhere that
Typically.
Okay.
Some dealers will do that. Some salespeople will do that, but you'll see the salesperson is probably going to be saved in your phone. If it's from a number you don't recognize, probably it's an automated software.
What does that cost a dealer? Something like
that? Not a whole lot. I mean, maybe $200 a month or something.
Okay. All right. So they're gonna these 50 people I sold, they're gonna receive that message because most people have been sold on a $200 service for that. And then they're going to remind me of, they're probably going to already remind me of my service appointment, or are you saying that you need to jump in there and team up with them?
No, they will.
Okay.
And here's the difference is, how do I want to be reminded? One, and two, okay, I got a text that I'm reminded. Now what? I got to remember to go set the appointment. My ad is going to drop you right into the service scheduler. So that they can go from seeing my ad to scheduled appointment in less than 3 seconds.
So we're targeting them on different websites. We're not necessarily text. This isn't a text campaign.
Correct.
Okay.
Primarily Facebook.
Okay. That's good. That's good. So we're going to target them with an ad that takes them to the dealership's
service scheduler. We're dropping them right into that scheduler. They can set the appointment online.
So it's browser-based, cloud-based. It's not SMS. So, okay. That's helpful because you can't set you can't, I don't guess you could send a text message.
You could send a link, but you know, what are the chances somebody's going to click on a link in a text and it's probably coming from a number they don't recognize.
And they could be driving down the road.
Exactly.
So, but if they're on Wi-Fi or if they're at home, and
here's the other key is they're not going to get 3 texts, but Facebook might serve them 3 or 4 impressions. So I got multiple chances for them to engage with that ad if I use Facebook.
And now, when did you say you're going to start doing this? When are they going to start seeing these ads?
Typically, 6 to 7 months, from their first purchase. We're not bombarding these people.
Is that how long it usually takes for service? I thought that was like maybe 2 or 3 months.
Well, depending on the vehicles. Now, if full synthetic, you can go 10,000 miles before your first oil change. But depending on the manufacturer, we whatever the manufacturer specifications is kind of where we fit in.
Okay, I could see some good offers, some compelling offers for that first service. I really okay. All right, so we're going to serve that. Do you know what kind of retention or what kind of some conversion you're having with those ads now?
Yeah, so the introductory to service is like, well, we're not finding everybody on Facebook, so the match rate is typically 50 to 60%, which is pretty strong, and we have some proprietary software in how we boost that match rate, which I'm not going to disclose, but yeah. So
proprietary software. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, from that intro to service, we're seeing about a 40 to 50% that go right from our ad to the scheduler and schedule an appointment.
So 40 to 50% of the ads that people are seeing are scheduling the appointment.
Correct.
That's powerful. Very powerful. All right. So they schedule it. They schedule that. When are you going to touch them again?
So that it depends on the action that they take. If the advisor recommended an op code and the customer declined, we're going to hit them with that declined service almost immediately.
Okay. All right. Now I'm in the car business. Again, I I believe strongly in the 80-20 rule. So I only pay attention to the 20% of the things that bring a whole lot of value to me. So I don't even know what an opcode is. So you're going to have to explain to me, and remember this, if I don't know, maybe most people do know, but what do you mean by that?
So opcode is just that's the code that their DMS logs what job was recommended. So if I
the service advisor?
Yes.
Okay. So the first service, they show up 40-50%. That's awesome. And then that service advisor,
they may recommend a cabin filter, or the first service might be minor things, air filter, cabin filter, something like that. But that's money sitting there for the dealership. The margins vary, but
yeah, and tire rotation. I mean, I rotated my tires because we're in truck country. That's something to remember too, since you're where you're at, and wherever you get your customers from, which needs to be 48 states at least. These truck people, they need a tire rotation on their first service. So anyway, so that you could offer that. So based on there's a code that the service.
The code just corresponds. That's how our software determines what messaging to provide them. So if the service advisor recommended a cabin filter, the ad that you see.
Okay, so you're going to know what the service advisor offered them.
Exactly.
Okay, no problem. So we need to find out in the service department what their money, what the cash cow is, what their revenue,
which is customer pay, not warranty work.
Right.
So that's all the decline service work for the most part is customer pay. That's what you want to increase, and that's where you can really make a lot of money in the fixed ops.
Okay, when are you going to touch them again?
So
decline it. I got it now. See, I'm catching. I'm.
Yeah. So let's say they take action on that decline service ad, which the decline service campaigns are by far the most effective campaigns that we run. We see anywhere from 12 to 14 times ad spend in returns. And so depending on that decline service ad, let's say they come in, they take action on the decline ad, right? We're now removing that customer from that ad audience automatically. So we're not going to continue to pay to put these campaigns in front of customers that have already taken the desired action. So from there, it may be a few months before they hear from us again, maybe an end of lease, which we'll start hitting them 12 months before their lease is up. If they're in equity, they may see some campaigns from us. Or if an incentive comes out from the manufacturer that makes them eligible for an upgrade with a low payment or a lower interest rate, they may populate into some of those campaigns as well.
Okay, so you stay with them for the life of the. Okay, so 4 years later, they're in the trade cycle. They're going to be starting to see some ads about lowering their interest rate or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
And these things aren't, let's say somebody turns rabbit on. We're not starting. All these are starting simultaneously. Mm-hmm. So everybody that is it's not these first couple customers that you sell, we're waiting for them to catch up. We're going to start serving everybody ads no matter where, because we can find out in the DMS where they are in their life cycle with your dealership. So we'll segment those audiences, and everybody in your database will start to drive towards their next transaction.
Okay, so you're in the DMS
or CRM, whichever some dealers don't want us in the DMS, which is fine. So we'll go through CRM. We're in the CDK partner program, so it's super easy for them to turn us on. They just go to their app, give us access, and we're in. If they're not comfortable with that, we can use CRM data as well.
You're in the CDK partner program, is what you said. How many people are in there?
I want to say there's up to 650 vendors. Okay. Don't quote me on that, but there's quite a few.
That's good. We're not. So we don't really have a. I guess DigiNinja will need to get in there at some point, but we're just, our product is our service right now. Our software is very robust, but it's not yet.
Well, and this is a little bit off topic, but as we're talking about new technology and paying attention to vendors and things, the CDK, these big DMS companies are not always vendor friendly, and sometimes they're not always dealer friendly. I mean, there's it's not free to become a partner. Mm-hmm. In other words, there's fees involved, and a lot of times those fees get passed on to the dealer. We don't do that, but a lot of companies will say, well, you're with CDK, it costs us X, so that's going to be X on your fee, Mr. Dealer. Which at the end of the day is not right, because that's the dealer wants to use his data for marketing purposes, and CDK is charging the vendor's charging the dealer, so the dealer's paying extra to have his data be used for marketing purposes. Mm-hmm. And that's where there's the doors wide open for a company like Techion to come in and make it super easy for everybody to access the data.
Techion?
Techion, yeah, look them up. They just super interesting company. Jay, the founder, was with Tesla for 3 years, left Tesla to found Techion, and they just received over $1 billion valuation pretty recently. And they've, they're in some stores. They haven't released any data as far as how many stores they're in, but it's going to be interesting to watch that one.
Gotcha. So tell me, tell me the relationship between Techion, Rabbit, and NetLook.
So so when I left the dealership and kind of went out on my own, I was reaching out and contacting people to help with some distribution. NetLook is a company that does lot services, data syndication for inventory, and we were initially in conversations to just partner and have them help me sell into some of their dealers because they saw a lot of value in it. And
Rabbit,
yep.
Okay.
And we aligned very well. Adam is the CEO there, and our goals are almost perfectly aligned in that we want dealers to know where their data is going. We want dealers to know how much it actually costs to run these ad campaigns, and we want dealers to know if they're overpaying for a certain vendor. So it was a natural fit. They acquired my company. I'm now an employee with NetLook full time, and Rabbit is their product, and it's a great relationship. And I think moving forward, we're working towards some pretty big things in some inventory specific ads in conjunction with their data syndication.
Gotcha. Well, that sounds so. We're a lot of dealers are going to watch this. You saw a lot of the conversations they're sending me. So what's your pitch? What's your message that you want to get out to 1,000 dealers? What do they need to know about Rabbit and know about Carson Henry?
Yeah, I think the first thing to know is, one objection that I receive a lot is, oh, well, I'm doing Facebook, right? Well, what does that mean? There's not one Facebook product that fits all. Facebook can target many different people and generate, exponential revenue across the board in sales, service, and parts. So one thing to know is over, the first case studies that we've done with all our customers, we're seeing a 14 to 15x return in revenue on average across the board. Okay, so what that means is you spend $1,000 across 6 campaigns, you're going to see in excess of $15,000 in gross revenue return through the service drive or the variable department, and that's reflected in our in the way we bill. So I don't want to get into it on the live show, but if anybody's interested, if you don't see returns, you don't pay us. And so that's how confident we are on the product. But the key is, we want to whittle down these huge digital marketing budgets that dealers are paying, to some of these big companies. They don't know where that money is going. I'm going to show you exactly what's going to ads. I'm going to show you exactly what our fee is. And I'm going to show you exactly to the penny who came into your store and how much money did they spend with you every month.
So do you customize each ad campaign to the dealer?
Absolutely.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, is there anything else you need to say, or did you want to get out there? We're competing against Grant Cardone and a lot of other shows right now.
I think this sums it up for today. It was, I want to, thank you for having me on your platform, and you've got a great facility here. Super excited to be here.
Good. I'm gonna show you some more. And Smith's going to take this because we got started on the pitch right at the end. You'll have several great looking commercials out of this last part right here. We'll be happy to put them on our sites. We're how many sites are we on right now?
I believe 4 or 5
different sites, and then we'll disseminate it, and we will break them up and send them to you as well, so you can replay them at your will. We like to get a lot of information, out of one show. He's got a page full over there. So, 3 pages.
Yes, sir.
Wow, there's some good stuff in there. I really enjoyed the show. I'm going to go back and watch this one and come up with some more questions. I really enjoy having smart people around me. Speaking of smart people, I got to go. Oh goodness, we didn't even get to the comments, did we?
This was the only question we had, but I figured I'd point it out at least.
Okay, we answered that pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we answered that pretty well. I do the saturation, and Tim's familiar with that, and I'm learning about some of these dialing down ads, and I'm never too old to learn. And I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We'll see you guys next time. Tomorrow is Wednesday. That's Winning Together. April Brown Merritt's going to be here tomorrow. Can't wait.